So when we were thinking about doing our 10th year anniversary Growers Cup, I was really trying to think of what we could do to make a big, project or something that would be exciting to kind of embody the 10-year legacy that we've had going. And the idea that we came up with was just to try to interview some of the people that have been deeply involved in the cannabis industry here in Oregon, and do long-form interviews and really, see and get their perspective about what's changed in the last 10 years, which is a lot, as you can imagine. And that's just the regular legalization, not even considering the medical history. So what we've done is we took the word legacy, we broke it down into each letter, and each letter actually equals a word that we asked them a question about, like L for legacy. So what you're about to watch is the kind of teaser to those interviews, and you can kind of see the best little highlights of each one. We are going to be updating our website and our social media. We're the next couple weeks after the cup, we're going to be putting out the full-length interviews so you can watch all those. But if you're here watching at the cup today, it's a great way to kind of see and check out some of these great interviews that we did. Another exciting thing that we have going on is in 2025, next quarter, we're going to be actually opening up a branded Oregon Growers Cup dispensary in Portland. And this is going to be a place where we can showcase some of the winners of this year and previous years. See you guys tomorrow. So as far as the word legacy, what does that mean to you guys?
Well, traditionally, legacy, in the traditional sense, means kind of like what you leave for the future. And so I know it's being used as legacy growers or legacy farmers in a different kind of context in the cannabis space, but I still think of legacy as, what we're leaving for the future. And so, we have this piece of property. It used to be an apple orchard that produced cider apples, and now it's producing cannabis. And, I like to think that whoever is the caretaker of this land in the future is going to have land that's cleaner than what it was when we got it, and and still healthy and still able to produce either food or more cannabis and continue in some type of farming in the future. So.
And as legacy growers, we have seeds that we've had before anything was legal, and genetics that we've kept alive and have been breeding with since before then. So also being able to, leave behind the value that, old isn't bad, and keeping genetics alive. And hopefully that sun-grown cannabis has, somewhere to stand, and it isn't a commodity crop, because to us it's better.
My legacy, I'm still working on it. I'm not done yet. I'm close to 50 years old. I want to at least go another 15, 20 years, But I will say my legacy is to teach.
Are we rolling? Should I go?
We're rolling.
Okay. When I think of legacy, I think like what was your mark here in your time on Earth? Like what did you do to like the indelible mark to make the world a better place? What comes to mind to me is the pioneers that macheted the path before there was even a trail. The guys that there was no grow books, there was no grow stores, and they're just winging it.
It means to me what kind of program I left behind. What did I do to benefit patients or the program? That's what I want my legacy to be.
It's decades of, showing up every day, letting your voice be heard, working with state legislators, working with local governments. For me, it's been working with the federal government. It means leaving a good vibe for everybody in the future.
So, that's a good question. Legacy is, because it's thrown around a lot. in this industry and in a lot of things. You know, legacy is something that you can pass on to others, be it knowledge, be it an heirloom, be it your work even, you know. Some companies out there, legacy companies, because, you know, from parent to child, the company continues on. Legacy is something that will stand the test of time, something that will come full with what it promises. You know, legacy is not a gimmick. It's not something that comes and goes or a trend. Legacy is like a very steadfast thing that we all really need to pay attention to in our lives, not just in cannabis, but in our families and stuff. If everyone would slow down, pay a little more attention to what's important to your family and those coming up in the newer generations, we can have more synchronicity and make things work out.
Well, I think of legacy as leaving something for the future, really.
The pioneering spirit of the cannabis industry, how our legacy, where we stand right now, is tied to those that came before us, how there was no playbook, there's no podcast to listen to, there's no mentorship to go and seek.
Some of the people that have been here from the beginning should have the opportunity to reap the rewards of what they worked for. We'll be here till the end.
I love it.
You know, that kind of just makes me think of something else. You know, me and all of my friends grew, and I'm the only one left.
To me, it means what I've done and I've accomplished as an activist and as a leader in the community, because everybody left us a little something. All of our volunteers, you know, did a lot to make us go. Without them, we wouldn't have an organization, and we were Oregon Normal to begin with, and we evolved into the Cannabis Cafe, the world famous Cannabis Cafe in 1998.
Oregon has been leading the industry for so many years that this industry is 7-8 years old, and we're at the very beginning of the future of 100 years from the
10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah, 10
it's
years
10
old.
years old.
2015 is when it legalized.
And so going on, time's flying by, so going on 10 years of legalization, there was nothing before us.
You know, it means a lot to me. I think about where we started first, just buying seeds overseas, and how nobody really had access, not real access. And I want that to be true here.
I personally didn't think we'd ever see legalization happen in my lifetime. And here we are seeing multiple states come online with legality. And I actually recently have been thinking in my life, what is my legacy? What am I leaving to this market?
For our legacy, I would agree. I mean, the communication with our customers, communication with our farms.
Legacy to me, and especially in cannabis, would mean like all the work that's done before we got here.
Just being here from the beginning, and you know, we're lucky enough to start this thing with our own money. We were never funded by anyone. We never had investors.
I think my legacy is that I've just kept at it, you know. And although it's sometimes, you know, the definition of insanity, there's got to be a place for the medicinal value of cannabis, as there always has been.
It's about leaving behind something, you know, that's a positive impact for future generations, is what I believe.
Well, legacy for me is a word about what you're going to leave behind after your effort is completed. And so my effort started in the black market 30 years ago plus.
You know, how does ethics, what role does that play when you guys are, you know, producing cannabis for the end user?
Clean cannabis matters just as much as the air we breathe and the food we consume, and so we really make sure to feed it clean water and, you know, like really tend to it as it's going to feed our bodies. It's food we're taking in.
You know, like, you know, if you were brought up that way with the craft cannabis and the elders and believing in those, you know, the code, you know, like you were taught to do well, you were taught to do good, you know, like.
Ethics with me always depends on reliable growers, making sure that I have a good clinic that operates on a good reputation, that we return our calls, we have very compassionate staff.
We've been really committed to growing ganja in a sustainable manner, in a way that's in harmony with the planet and the ecosystems and our surroundings, without using any bullshit, restricted or prohibited, or even any synthetic inputs of any kind.
Ethics to me means, as far as cannabis growing, you want to go clean, organic. That's the way I've always done it. It's just, I just grow for me and my family here.
A lot of the ethics needs to be checked in our industry. We're following trends too quickly without just a little data. And it could be pure data, just as easy as scientific data.
I live where I cultivate, and I have for 15 years, and so I care about the land. So I think first and foremost, my choice about inputs, how I'm caring for the land, it's not just about farming cannabis, it's about farming this land. What I put into it is going to come out of it. It's going to go into our water.
I mean, I support the needy, but I don't support the greedy. And that's one of the ethics that I try to live by.
Like I was just saying, making sure people get what they want or what they're looking for.
The industry trained and molded me to be the person that I am today, to be able to be a leader, lead a team, be able to understand the ground, to be able to learn how seasons and cycles.
So, I mean, ethics to the plant, going back to living soil, going back to brewing organic teas.
Being fair with your suppliers, being fair with your consumers, the vendors, paying people on time, meeting people on time, showing up for deliveries in a timely manner.
This plant goes into your brain, and I think about that every time I harvest a plant, and I take that very seriously.
To grow ethically, I mean, treating your employees well, having a good team behind you that's not, using people, but growing with the people you grow with.
And then just diving into ethics even more, like even our very, very strict stance on pesticides that we've held true since back in the medical days. And just putting a quality product out there that people use, product that we would use ourselves as well.
There used to be a certain level of ethics in the cannabis culture and trade, for lack of a better word. Everybody in America learned the metric system, and everybody was pretty much honest about it.
And so that's where the end of our ethic train lands, is with the Oregon consumer.
I'm glad I got to come in at a time when it was more about people helping each other than everybody wanting to be rich.
So as far as G was for growth, and obviously I've seen you guys kind of grow in my mind, but how has the growth gone from your guys' perspective?
I think we take kind of baby steps. We don't make any fast moves in this industry. And you see so many people just come in and go out, and for us it's about just slowly moving forward with deliberate.
I've had to pivot. I've had to do things, differently and move along with this big business while keeping those traditions alive.
For us to really have a hybrid model where we're combining organic farming of vegetables and food with cannabis, they work really well together, and we've been at it a long time, but we're really fine-tuning that model, and that's exciting.
Oh, it's affected me in a lot of good ways. It's really woken me up to who people really are and what you see out there. It's helped me grow in many different ways. My lifestyle here on the farm is we follow the sun.
In terms of my cultivation techniques, and learned that I could scale it. And so when, in 2016, when legalization passed, I decided that I was going to quit all my jobs and focus primarily on cannabis cultivation, in which I did. So I just kept growing, like figuratively and literally, from 1 farm to 5 farms and scaling that.
I don't know if any of you thought there'd be a store in every block, more than 7-Elevens, but I sure didn't. And, seeing that growth of the industry was motivating to have us grow.
It's affected my personal growth as an advocate and as a patient, because I'm actually a consumer and I've been a consumer since I was 16 years old. I'm 73 now, so it's been a lifelong lifestyle for me.
On 1 acre, and then we go out to 2 acres, and then we're out on 3 acres. And from there, I've been able to obtain and chase many other dreams and many other personal goals of mine. Career-wise, I've been able to start up other businesses. I've been able to raise a family in a small town. I've been able to do so many great things because of the plant itself holding me down and keeping me committed to the process and to the goals that were at hand.
I've grown a lot, persevering through terrible, shitty days, or losing everything you got. That's been a big growth thing for me that I wasn't prepared for, I don't think, when I started.
Just started out as kids that wanted to sell weed to everybody. Right? And they didn't know about workman's comp or quarterly taxes, and so when they got thrown into licensed, regulated business models,
I'm always being here for the business and my family's, and I'm always here for my family. Or maybe they feel like I'm neither here for either one of them at times as well. That's the hard balance is personal life and business life.
Running a business in the legal cannabis space has really, there are forks in the road every day. Which way are you going to take? Are you going to chase the money, or are you going to stay true to what you believe this plant should be, where this plant should be going?
Every day you're learning. There's never a day where you can say, oh, I've got this thing 100% pinned. And some people do, and good for them, but some new thing comes out and all of a sudden you got to relearn everything.
We've had employees buy homes. I think for me that's the biggest success in the growth for us, is watching the people that work for us really thrive and live good lives. And the white label's been able to prove and provide that for them.
Really, I saw cannabis as a much more positive alternative way to alter your consciousness, and ran with that.
They all want the best thing, but they would also like the best thing at a cheap price, which is super understanding.
Growth is one of those things that's very hard with the economics, but very imperative with the future.
What are you guys most proud as far as your accomplishments with Alter?
Still being here, despite all the ups and downs of the industry, and
just being here. I started growing in 1993.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Being a judge for the cup is one of my greatest accomplishments. I love it.
Entering competitions where we're up against people with late assist and double enders and greenhouses, and we're winning those competitions.
I have a lot of accomplishments. We taught classes here at Clark Community College. I've been featured on NBC, Nightly News, Squawk Box, Business News Weekly, 50 other publications. I just try to be a good face for cannabis.
I think first and foremost, just still being here.
I'm probably the number one thing is still being here, growing ganja and being part of the industry.
Building a cannabis community.
Well, I've been able to really understand cannabinoids and cannabinoid profiles and be able to really connect with the people.
I'll get a review or a nice message or email saying how just finding us was a huge deal because they got what they wanted and it turned out great.
Well, I think keeping the patient voice alive, I think that's been my biggest accomplishment.
I think just keeping this thing up and alive and pointed in the right direction. It feels like the closer you are to success, the thinner, the more narrow of a line to failure it becomes.
Accomplishments. I mean, I have to repeat that fact that staying alive. I mean, what it feels like is in the legal industry is running a marathon and then sprinting at the end of it, while people are shooting flaming arrows at you.
Kind of one of our biggest accomplishments is to be one of the few Oregon companies that's built from scratch without any debt and with the reputation that we have.
We've taken no outside investment ever in this. It's just been the three of us, and that is something that I think we're very, very proud of.
I've sort of feel like I helped create the industry.
The fact that we can have close to 40 humans that work for us that can clothe themselves and feed their children and root themselves and support their own lives.
I am most proud of the shop and the employees that work here.
Earning the trust of the cannabis growers across the country.
But what does the word cannabis community mean to you guys?
We have what's called the art in the garden, and we were approached, and so we were the first cannabis farm to actually open up to the public.
It's a group of people, a lot of people like to say like-minded, that appreciate cannabis and keep cannabis at a high standards while trying to make cannabis more accepted socially.
Oh, so much everything. I really think, I wish we could have a cannabis cafe. I don't know if they're letting them open them back up or not yet, but we really need that as a way for people to socialize, get to know other people in the community.
When I think of cannabis community, I think of people like all of our buddies, and all their buddies, and the network of folks that have been doing it and keep doing it, and they don't even have a plan B, most of them.
Community's everything. With community, we can join together.
So now there's an exchange of information, there's exchange of genetics, right? So genetics aren't living and dying in a dark corner. They are now, you have genetic biodiversity that's available to all of us.
The ganja community is important to me, the cannabis community in particular, because one, we know it's healing for so many people, brings peace of mind, tranquility, and helps people in their daily lives in so many ways.
Teaching each other.
I can walk in a store and never know you, and I can know you right away. Like, I can see my people, across. I'll be in Fred Meyer's and I'll see another farmer over there, and it's like, we know exactly, I know exactly what industry you're in because I know my people.
But I work really hard to keep that community together and to speak to everybody. And I feel like I'm the only seed bank owner I know that answers customers, face-to-face customers.
There's still a small group of people that are willing to do everything they can to provide cannabis for other people.
I think for me, it's the family of employees that we've built here. They're all people that I break bread with. I've known most of them for a long time. And we have some new employees that come and go.
Whether it's medical, rec, or home grow or whatever, we're not going anywhere. We are here, and especially in Oregon, we have a great community that just sticks together.
We try to do all the events we can, obviously with you guys, the Oregon Growers Cup, we try to get in front of the customers and kind of showcase our products as much as we can. It's always fun to do the events with various kind of cannabis meetups and stuff like that.
My dream was to run around naked in the cannabis fields when I was a kid,
So you're doing it metaphorically right now.
Exactly.
Well said.
It's fantastic. You see the same folks in a lot of these spaces. We come to the Growers Cup, we go to these other events. We do the holidays together as far as like vendors and owners and bud tenders.
I do still think cannabis can be a unifying thing and can create community, and I appreciate the work that you do because you're one of the shining examples of the cannabis community.
I want to make sure if I find something special, we don't hold it close to our chest, but I want to give it back to the community.
I love all the new hash makers that I'm seeing. I have so many hash maker friends who they grow their flower, they make their hash, and then we all pass around our hash. It's so much community. I can't really stress that enough. Like, everybody that I smoke their hash is a friend of mine. That's a really, really, really good feeling to have.
So the last one is why for you, and really it's a question of where are you guys going now in the future?
I think it'll be really amazing for Oregon for there to be national distribution, and would love to be part of that.
I want to continue to be right here.
Well, I want to stay and try to help his patients as much as I can. My goal is to start to where the patients are more important.
I want to be growing weed in my 70s and 80s and even 90s, but I want to be doing it then because I enjoy it, not because I still have to keep the lights on. So that's another thing that I hope we can get to that point sooner than later.
And who cares what happens in the past? We need to get the band back together, like I like to say, and get out there and come together, because there's a lot of great voices out there. I'm really honored to be a part of the team at the Oregon Growers Cup, the judging team. It's a lot of amazing people who've done a lot of amazing work over the years, and for me it's been an honor and a pleasure to keep it moving, and I see the Oregon Growers Cup being a part of that.
Yeah,
I
kind
get
of
it.
Reflection,
Yeah.
reflection and refinement
Yeah.
would be what we focus on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Develop this and move this going further into the realms that are just unknown to us.
Right now, I'm just a cannabis consumer. I'm enjoying that part of it, and I'm enjoying my great-grandchildren.
My son, he's 20 now. I think he's almost responsible enough to, chip in a little more and be part of it. But I think that would definitely he loves it too. But he's a kid. Yeah. Runner muck.
And then I'm gonna go fishing.
Oh man, I'm just trying to get to the end of the building.
Yeah, we're just trying to put a blueprint together. We're taking notes, we're keeping track of things, and we want to be able to either for ourselves or for other people in the future that we have that blueprint that we can say, if you want to build a 10-room facility, here's what it would take, here's what it will cost, here's what you need, here's how many people it would take.
Gosh, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm gonna be. Maybe I'll be a cannabis rock star.
Just trying to bring more products, more kind of fun products to the customers rather than just flower.
We want to strive to be the #1 extract company in the state. We want to provide the best quality products that we can for the state.
Future Light Label, continued success, continue to follow the standards.
I got involved with cannabis because truth, justice, and freedom were important to me, and I guess I'm still pursuing those things in different ways now.
I want to do a farm, and I would like to do edibles long term. I love edibles.
Thank you.